So what kind of car am I going to put the sound system into? Well, a 93 Camry. So a lot of you might be wondering why a 1993 Camry. Now, most people I tell the good old answer, because I can. Most of you probably don't like that reasoning. So let's just think about this from kind of an accountant's point of view. You only make so much money a year, whether it be 30 grand, 70 grand, I don't know. So given the fact that you only make so much money a year, a lot of you are wondering, why am I putting a $2,000 sound system into an old used car like this? Why not just buy a new car? Well, if I buy a new car, which is cool and all, nothing against it, but if I only make so much money a year, I buy for 25 grand, and let's just say you just do it for 0% financing. Let's just keep it simple. As soon as that car drives off the lot, it's probably worth about $24,000, high $23,000 range, roughly. So it's already depreciated as soon as I've driven off the lot. That's just how it works. This car is old, it's already depreciated. It's a daily. A lot of us guys and girls have really nice project vehicles, put a lot of time and effort into them, but if you think about it, don't spend a lot of time behind the wheel because it's a project vehicle. Vehicles like this, you spend a lot of time in. You're driving it every day to and from work on average, let's say 30 minutes a day. That time adds up. So why not make your time in this vehicle a little bit more pleasant? So if you think about this logically now, you spend 25 grand on a new car, it's got a boring sound system, it's just boring. Or we could have a boring looking car, but at least we enjoy our time inside here. I could buy this car for roughly about $3,000, good condition, dump in about 2 grand the sound system. Yes, it's almost worth as much as the car, but I'm only spending about 5 grand. Let's say Murphy's Law hits this car and motor fails, transmission fails. I have to dump in another $4,000 with labor and everything. So I'm up around 9 grand. This is worst case scenario, but at the end of the day, I'm spending less money and I have a way cooler car at the end of the day, right? So before starting any sound system, what I like to do, especially when you're doing a subwoofer, is to make the foundation of the car a lot better. Cars are just made of sheet metal, not exactly great for resonance. So today what I'm going to be using is Stinger's version of sound deadening called Roadkill. Alright, so now you're ready to apply your sound deadening. Make sure your surface is clean and everything, and when you're just going to have some wax paper under here, and this will expose the adhesive. Now be very careful, this is extremely sticky, don't let it touch itself. I'm just going to write off that piece. So when you're installing this, you want to use some sort of applicating tool like this. A roller, I like to buy these off online, you can get them from install shops, wherever. They're not that expensive. I try to get something though with a metal frame on it and the wooden roller. It makes it a lot easier and it lasts a lot longer with the tool. So when you apply it, just lay it down flat. And the reason why you want to use this tool is because when you want to work it in, the more surface you actually get to stick to the metal, the more that the sound deadening material can do its job and get rid of the metal resonating. So we got most of it done so far. We got some more spaces to hit, but as you can see, as you keep on going, it's just going to turn into this nice, completely covered surface. Obviously I have some more spots that I got to hit, but we're getting there. Okay, got all the carpet back in, we're ready to put in our enclosure. So on this build we decided to make this look like it's supposed to be part of the car. So we tried to match the carpet as best we could with the factory stuff. Built a fiberglass enclosure. This isn't the store-bought one, this was built in-house. And then we also ordered in the grill from Alpine. You don't have to run the grill. I think it actually looks a little bit better without the grill, but this is an actual daily driver. So when you're putting stuff in the trunk, groceries, whatever, this will keep it protected. So we're going to run a really long wire to the amplifier, and this just tucks right in the corner. Alright, now we're going to start wiring up the deck and the amplifier. Now when you're doing a 5-channel amplifier, we're going to do a little bit differently. Typically what you usually see me do on a deck install is, this is the harness that you buy for the car, specific to the plugs here. Here's what comes to the deck. It all gets wired together. We're adding another element in, is this 9-wire conductor. Now some of you might be saying, no, you got to run new wires and speakers. In a case like this, we're not running a ton of power through. The factory wiring is actually reasonably thick. It's perfectly fine to run through the factory wiring, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So what this does is it makes a much cleaner install. Most install shops will carry something like this, and it makes it a lot easier for us too. Because basically now we have a nice, clean wire. It looks like power wire, but inside we have all our necessary speaker wires and a remote wire all tucked in. So when we run it all, it's going to look really nice when we're done. So what we're going to do is, this cable gets hooked up to this just for power. Afterwards, the speakers get hooked up to the speaker wires on this harness again. So I'll just do part of the wiring for you guys so you see how we do it here. So I've gone ahead and twisted everything. Shrink tube is already previously run, so that's the only way you can get it on is beforehand. And we're just going to go ahead and solder up all these lines. Check it out, make sure there's no burrs or anything sticking out. And got a little one over here. Go ahead and shrink tube everything. So that's how they're all going to be done, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up this harness. So when it's all said and done, it's going to look something like this. So this goes to our head unit, this goes to the car, here is our 9-wire conductor which goes to our 5-channel amplifier. Now if you're wondering why I haven't done this wire yet, is because I have a switch inside the car because I want manual control at all times over the power antenna. So I'm going to go ahead and wire this up in the car afterwards. Next I've decided to put the amplifier underneath the seat, so we got to take this thing out. Okay, so I'm probably about 3/4 of the way done, and I want to show you guys how much work's involved when it comes to doing something like this if you want to do it nicely and thoughtfully. So I've already taken out the glove box. It made running the wires a lot easier. What I've also done is, in here, you can see there's the USB cable, flushed it inside here. I just want a little bit of a neater install when I'm all said and done. I just don't want to just drill a hole and have it dropped in there. If you want to do a little bit something nicer. And inside here, you can see I have my RCA's run, all tucked with the factory wiring, and it's all going to tuck up nicely. It's just going the extra mile for the customer and making sure that even though they don't see it, I know behind her it's going to look pristine. And you can see here I've gone ahead and started running the power wire. You also want to make sure you're going to try to keep the power wire as far away from the RCA's for as much as you can so you can reduce any chance of engine noise. And for the ground, what we've done is there's a brace in here. So I've gone ahead, got rid of all the paint off that brace, and I've nut and bolted in. And then I've also hit it with a bit of clear coat so this will never corrode with rust or anything. Alright, the 5-channel amplifier is all finalized, the MRX V70. See with the covers back on, you can't see really the wiring here, plus the seat's going to cover it. RCA's are tucked nicely around the amplifier. Sometimes I go underneath, but because I actually put a piece of wood underneath the amplifier so it'd be too tight, it might pinch the wire, so I ran it on the other side, you're not going to see it. And what I did was I took a piece of plywood and I glued it to the floor. That way I wouldn't have any chance of firing the screws right through the floorboard and running through like a line of some sort. I find this way's a lot safer and you still get a clean and secure install because it's not going to go anywhere. Under the hood we're all wired up, ran through the firewall, ran our wiring nice and clean with all the factory stuff. A couple electrical upgrades have been done to this car already, so we have our optional red top. We've also upgraded the battery terminal connectors, 100% copper. And there's a big 3 upgrade on here. So this wire here goes to the alternator, the motor's grounded to the chassis, battery again regrounded to the chassis. Everything's regrounded again just to make sure we have good flow of electrons and we minimize any chance of engine noise. So let's recap what we've done to the vehicle. So for the head unit we have the Alpine Doubledin IVE W530. Obviously it's got your CD and DVD drive, front auxiliary port, touchscreen. No navigation on this one, but it does have Bluetooth capabilities. What also we've done is for the USB input, it comes out the rear, and typically of just, having it drop down or just putting in the center console or something, what we decided to do was on this one, you can see right here, we've gone ahead and flushed in the USB mount into the glove box, so it's all hidden away because we're only going to be using the thumbstick, so we don't need to access it that often, but we want it out of the way and want to make it look nice. So here's the 5-channel amplifier you saw me wiring up before. It's the MRX V70. Wiring's all secured, tucked away. Like I said, we've mounted a piece of plywood and glued it to the floor. That way we're not drilling through the floorboards to secure the amplifier. But this way we have also mounted all our tuning settings on the back of the seat. That way if you ever need to go back and retune it, just push your seat forward, retune it, pull the seat back, you don't even notice it. So you can see here I've installed the rear speakers. We're running Type S speakers, coaxial all the way around in the front doors and in the rear deck. You can see in the rear deck that I've installed 6.5s as opposed to 6x9s. I just want to try to get the best sound quality possible, so I decided to go with a round style speaker as opposed to an oval. I'm running a subwoofer in the back, so I didn't see it necessary to have as much surface area on the speakers to get bass. I'd rather go for more sound quality, and technically round does sound better than oval. And in the back we have our custom 10-inch fiberglass enclosure. It's all fiberglass, the bottom is MDF. I've also installed the grill from Alpine to protect it because it is a daily. We want to make sure that nothing, when you're transporting groceries or anything, doesn't hit the subwoofer. Nice, simple, clean, sealed enclosure, matched the trunk. Well, that's enough talking about the car. Let's just listen to it now.
I had this feeling, it felt like pain.